Step away from the vehicle. Hands where I can see them.
Excuse me, I'm just washing my car here.
Huh. Okay, sure. Just washing the car. Turn around.
I live here. This is my driveway.
Yeah, and I'm the tooth fairy. Turn around now.
You're making a mistake. My ID is in my pocket.
I don't need your ID. I need your wrist. Don't make this worse.
Agent Miller had no idea what he just walked into. In the next 12 minutes, his career would be over. His agency would face a massive lawsuit, and he would be publicly shamed by the local police force. The man he was wrestling into handcuffs wasn't a criminal. That suspect was Robert Hastings. He was a federal circuit judge. He had 30 years of experience. He was the man who signed the warrants the agent failed to get. And the judge's home security cameras were recording every single second. Before I continue, let me ask you, have you ever been treated unfairly by someone in power? Drop your answer in the comments. But Agent Miller had no idea who he was screaming at. Let me introduce you to the man in the t-shirt. His name is Robert Hastings. He is 60 years old. To his neighbors, he is just a quiet man who likes old cars, but at work, he is a giant. Robert is a senior judge for the Federal Circuit Appeals Court. That is a very big deal. For 3 decades, he has worked in the law. He used to be a prosecutor. Now, he is an expert on the Constitution. Specifically, he is an expert on the Fourth Amendment. That is the law that protects people from illegal searches. Robert is the person who decides if police have done their job right. He knows exactly what a legal arrest looks like because he defines it every day. On this Saturday morning, Robert wasn't thinking about court cases. He was just a grandfather. He was recovering from back surgery he had 2 months ago. He was moving slowly. He just wanted to wash the soap off his windshield. He wasn't acting like a judge. He was just trying to enjoy his weekend. But that was about to change. Now let's look at the man with the badge. Agent Miller had a reputation in his office. It wasn't a good one. He was 34 years old. He worked for a tactical unit. His job was to find dangerous people, but Miller had a problem. He didn't like doing his homework. His co-workers called him a cowboy. In law enforcement, that is not a compliment. It means someone who acts fast and thinks later. It means someone who sees rules as obstacles. This wasn't his first mistake. In the last 18 months, there were 3 complaints against him. Every single time, it was a case of mistaken identity. One time, he stopped a man in a grocery store parking lot. He held him for 20 minutes. The man was a U.S. citizen. Miller never said sorry. Another time, he kicked in a door at the wrong address. He claimed it was an emergency. It wasn't. Miller had a history of ignoring local police rules. He felt untouchable behind his badge. He thought he could do whatever he wanted. But wait, there's more to this pattern. Miller believed that being loud made him right. He thought fear was better than respect. Type respect in the comments if you think badges require proper training. Miller pulled up to that house thinking this would be easy. He saw an older black man in a nice neighborhood. He made a snap judgment. He didn't check the license plate. He didn't check the house records. He just saw a target. He was about to make the last mistake of his career. Let's go back to that morning. It was Saturday, October 14th. The time was 10:15 a.m. The location was a quiet street in the suburbs. It was a cul-de-sac. That means a dead-end street with no through traffic. The atmosphere was peaceful. Birds were chirping. A neighbor 2 houses down was mowing his lawn. A mail carrier was walking down the block delivering letters. Robert Hastings was standing by his car. He was wearing shorts and a t-shirt. He had a garden hose in his hand. He looked relaxed. That's when everything changed. A black SUV screeched around the corner. It was unmarked. It didn't have lights on top. It drove fast and stopped right in front of Robert's driveway. It blocked him in. The door flew open. Agent Miller jumped out. He didn't say hello. He didn't say who he was. His hand went straight to his holster. He looked ready for a fight. Robert turned off the water. He looked confused. In his mind, he was wondering if the driver was lost. But Miller wasn't lost. He was focused. He saw a man who matched a vague description in his head, and in Miller's mind, that was enough. The peace of the suburbs was shattered in seconds. If stories like this matter to you, hit subscribe. We are going to keep telling them. Get on the ground, Miller yelled. Robert stood still. He was calm. I live here, he said. Miller ignored him. He walked up the driveway. He was on private property now. You fit the description, Miller said. What description? Robert asked. I am 60 years old. Miller didn't answer. He got closer. Listen to me, Grandpa, get on the ground. I have back problems, Robert said. I cannot lie on the concrete. My ID is in my pocket, just look at it. I don't care about your ID, Miller spat back. I said get down. This is where things got dangerous. You are violating federal law, Robert said. His voice was TD. He wasn't yelling, he was warning him. Miller laughed. It was a cold sound. I am federal law, he said. He reached for his belt. He pulled out a taser. He pointed it at the judge's chest. Don't make me light you up, Miller threatened. Robert froze. He put his hands up slowly. You are making a huge mistake, he said. Turn around, Miller barked. Robert turned slowly. He was careful not to make sudden moves. He knew one wrong move could end his life. Miller didn't wait. He grabbed Robert's arm. He grabbed it hard. He spun the judge around. He wrenched his arm behind his back. Robert winced in pain. His back surgery was still healing. I am not resisting, Robert yelled. Stop fighting me, Miller screamed for the cameras. But the video shows the truth. Robert was standing still. Miller slammed the judge against the hood of the car. The metal groaned. Robert's cheek pressed against the hot engine. Neighbors were watching now. They took out their phones. One neighbor, a retired Marine, called 911. There is a man with a gun attacking Judge Hastings, the neighbor said. Miller pulled out his handcuffs. He clicked them onto Robert's wrists. He squeezed them tight. Now you listen, Miller whispered. You are coming with me. Check my ID, Robert said one more time. Shut up, Miller said. Miller felt powerful. He had his suspect in cuffs. He thought he won. But he didn't know who was coming down the street. Would you stay calm in this situation? Tell me in the comments. Then the sound of sirens filled the air. It wasn't just one car, it was three. The local police had arrived. They came fast. They swerved into the cul-de-sac. They boxed in the agent's black SUV. Agent Miller looked up. He smiled. He thought they were there to help him. He thought they were his backup. Good timing, Miller yelled. I got him secured. The police officers jumped out of their cars. They didn't look at the judge. They looked at Agent Miller. Their hands were on their weapons. Step away from the man, one officer shouted. Miller looked confused. I'm a federal agent, he yelled. I'm ICE. I don't care who you are, the officer shouted back. Step away. A man in a sergeant's uniform stepped forward. This was Sergeant Davis. He had worked in this town for 20 years. He knew everyone. Davis walked right past Miller. He looked at the man in handcuffs. He looked at his face. He recognized him immediately. Your Honor, Davis said. The color drained from Agent Miller's face. He looked at the sergeant. Then he looked at the man in cuffs. Your Honor, Miller whispered. This is Judge Hastings, Sergeant Davis said. His voice was cold as ice. Why is he in handcuffs? He fit the description, Miller stammered. He was resisting. I was not resisting, Robert said calmly, and I asked him to check my ID 3 times. That's a lie, Miller said, but his voice shook. We have witnesses, the neighbor yelled from his porch. We have it on video. Sergeant Davis turned back to Miller. The look on his face was terrifying. Take those cuffs off, Davis said, right now. I need to run his name first, Miller tried to argue. He was trying to save face. You are going to take those cuffs off, Davis said, stepping closer, or I am going to arrest you for assault. Miller froze. He looked at the local police. They were all staring at him. He looked at the neighbors recording on their phones. He looked at the judge. He realized his mistake. It was a massive one. With shaking hands, Miller reached for his key. He unlocked the cuffs. Robert Hastings pulled his hands free. He rubbed his wrists. There were red marks on his skin. He stood up straight. He fixed his shirt. He looked Miller in the eye. "You have the right to remain silent," Robert said softly. "I suggest you use it." Miller didn't speak. He looked down at his boots. But wait, there's more to this. The police didn't just let Miller go. They started an investigation right there in the driveway. Sergeant Davis wasn't done. He took charge of the scene. "Agent, I need to see your warrant," Davis demanded. Miller shifted his feet. I was operating on a visual match," he said. "I didn't have the paper warrant on me." "So you entered private property and detained a citizen without a warrant?" Davis asked. "It was exigent circumstances," Miller lied. "That means an emergency." "What emergency?" Davis asked. "He was washing a car." Davis walked over to his patrol car. He pulled up the file on the computer. He looked at the description of the actual fugitive Miller was supposed to find. "Agent," Davis called out, "the suspect you are looking for is a Hispanic male. He is 5'8". He is 32 years old." Davis pointed at the judge. "This man is black. He is 6'2", and he is 60 years old." Miller stayed silent. There was nothing to say. The lie was exposed. "You didn't even look," Davis said. "You just saw a man and grabbed him." Davis turned to T. "He other officers, get statements from all the neighbors, get a copy of that doorbell footage." Then Davis turned back to Miller. "You are lucky Judge Hastings is a patient man. If it were up to me, you would be in the back of my car." "I'm a federal agent," Miller said weakly. "You can't arrest me." "Watch me," Davis said. "You are on my streets. You assault my citizens. You answer to me." Davis made a phone call. He called Miller's supervisor. He explained exactly what happened. He used words like incompetent and dangerous. Robert Hastings stood by his car. He was free, but he was angry. He watched the police strip Miller of his authority. "I want his badge number," Robert said, "and I want his supervisor's name." "You got it, Judge," Davis said. Miller got back in his SUV. He didn't look at anyone. He started the engine and drove away slowly. The neighbors booed him as he left. But the consequences were just beginning. The body cam footage was about to become public record. If you enjoy seeing bad agents get caught, hit subscribe right now. The footage didn't disappear. It went online. By Monday morning, the news stations were asking for it. By Wednesday, it was on YouTube. The title was simple: "Federal Judge Handcuffed in Driveway." The views skyrocketed. In the first hour, it had 10,000 views. By lunch, it had 100,000. By midnight, millions of people had seen it. The video was shocking. It showed a calm man in his own home. It showed an aggressive agent refusing to listen. It showed the moment the cuffs went on. People were furious. The comments section exploded. "If they do this to a judge," one person wrote, "what chance do I have? This agent is a bully," another wrote. "He needs to be fired." The hashtag #Judge Hastings started trending. It was everywhere. Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. Everyone was talking about it. National news picked it up. CNN and Fox News played the clip. Legal experts went on TV. They broke down every mistake Miller made. They talked about the Fourth Amendment. They talked about civil rights. The agency tried to ignore it. They released a short statement. "We are investigating the incident," they said. That wasn't enough. The public wanted answers. They wanted justice. Agent Miller tried to save himself. His union representative spoke to the press. He said Miller was under stress. He said he was doing his job. The public didn't buy it. The video showed the truth. He wasn't stressed. He was arrogant. This story was shared millions of times. Share it if you think others should see this. 3 days later, Robert Hastings filed a lawsuit. It wasn't a small claim. It was a massive civil rights case. The case was called Hastings v. United States. The charges were serious: false imprisonment, excessive force, assault, violation of civil rights. Robert's lawyers were the best. They dug into Agent Miller's past. They found the cowboy file. They found the complaints about the grocery store. They found the complaints about the wrong address. They proved a pattern. Miller wasn't just having a bad day, he was a bad agent. Usually, federal agents are protected. There is something called qualified immunity. It means it is very hard to sue them for mistakes. But Robert Hastings knew the law better than anyone. He argued that Miller broke the rules so badly that immunity didn't apply. The court agreed. The judge on the case, a colleague of Robert, denied the immunity. That meant Miller could be sued personally. The government panicked. They knew they would lose in court. They knew a jury would hate Agent Miller. They didn't want a trial. So they opened their checkbook. The settlement was historic. The government agreed to pay $12.4 million. Wait until you hear what happened to the agent. The money came from the taxpayers, but Miller paid a different price. He was fired, not suspended. Fired. He lost his job. He lost his pension. His name was all over the internet. He could never work in law enforcement again. He disappeared from the public eye. He had to move to a different state. Robert Hastings won. He got justice. But the money wasn't the most important part. After the settlement, Robert held a press conference. He stood on the steps of the courthouse. He wore his black robe. He looked serious. "I have sat on this bench for 30 years, Robert said. "I thought the law protected us. I was wrong." He paused. The crowd was silent. "I was scared," he admitted. "I was in my own driveway. I was doing nothing wrong, and I was terrified." He looked at the cameras. "The badge is a heavy weight," he said. "It is a responsibility. It is not a license to bully. It is not a permission slip to hurt people." He had a message for regular people too. "Know your rights," he said. "Record everything. If this can happen to a judge, it can happen to anyone." He thanked his neighbors. He thanked the local police. "Justice is blind," he said, "but it should not be deaf to the pleas of the innocent." He donated a large part of his settlement. He gave it to a fund that helps people who are wrongfully arrested. Why did Robert win? Because he had resources. Most people lose these cases. It is incredibly hard to sue federal agents. The system is built to protect them. But this case changed things. It set a precedent. It showed that qualified immunity has limits. It forced the agency to change its training. Now, agents must confirm identity before using force. It was a victory for everyone. So let me ask you, do you think Agent Miller would have stopped if the victim wasn't a judge? Do we give federal agents too much cover to make mistakes? Do you feel safe in your own driveway? Because if we don't fix the lack of oversight, then we're just waiting for the next aggressive agent, the next innocent victim, the next tragedy. Comment below if you believe the settlement should have come out of the agent's pocket. If you think stories like this matter, hit that subscribe button. We're going to keep exposing these stories. We're going to keep demanding better. This isn't just about one agent or one judge. It's about all of us. See you in the next one.